West Virginia is a beautiful state. Its mountains, valleys, rivers, and streams are what attracts many people to the state. The mountain state is almost 80% forested, which gives every person living or visiting here access to plenty of outdoor activities such as hunting, fishing, bicycling, and more. Now, something we all need and use nearly every day are the roads that get to some of the most gorgeous settings anywhere in the country. More specifically, dirt roads. West Virginia has thousands of miles of dirt roads. These roads are used for economic and recreational activities. But roads that are not built properly have a negative impact on streams as well as residents and businesses that located next to the stream. With each rain or snow melt, dirt and sand, called sediment, from these roads begins a journey that travels down the state's waterways, settling out in our rivers and lakes. The cost of this sediment is hard to measure, but it impacts us all.
We've built a number of new facilities over the last, I'd say 8 years, and during the design phase, when you're looking at historical data, we've noted that sediment loading in the stream has increased at least fourfold in a lot of areas in West Virginia, and obviously that's again a direct cost in your design and in construction of those facilities. I would encourage all the parties upstream to look at whatever their operations or activities are, and keep in mind that any erosion and sediment loading on the streams does affect downstream users.
Some of the physical effects include suffocation. For example, when the sediment enters the stream, it deposits it on the bottom, destroying their habitat. The macroinvertebrates and some fish live in between the rocks, on top of the rocks, and they essentially get suffocated. Another effect is it has effect on the stream's productivity overall, because when sediment becomes suspended, it clouds up the water. That means there's less light penetration. That means there's less photosynthesis. So the food web in the stream is definitely affected. We're always worried about our trout fisheries. We have a lot of cold water streams and we have some excellent fisheries. However, if you add sediment to those fisheries, it gets trapped in between the rocks and destroys some of the habitat that the little trout need for egg survival. So it basically suffocates the eggs as well. Chemistry-wise, a lot of things are attracted to sediment. It binds to other materials, more specifically things like metals, and a lot of the chemical fertilizers and pesticides and herbicides we put on our gardens and our plants gets bind with sediment, and that enters the stream directly, which decreases the oxygen level, it changes the pH, and in high enough concentrations they can be detrimental to a lot of things as well. A stream has a natural behavior. A stream channel basically behaves depending on its landscape, depending on how much water it gets, and there's several other factors, but it has a natural behavior. Okay, when we throw something to in that natural behavior, mainly sedimentation, it changes the shape of the channel, it changes how the water enters the stream, and it changes the pattern of the stream. One of the things that it changes is it begins to fill in areas of the stream where there might have been scale pools, where there might have been holes, where the water could have slowed down, and that means the water's got to go someplace else, and usually it's out of the stream. Another thing it changes the size of the channel and the shape of the channel. The stream moves in a meander to dissipate energy. Okay, that's one way a stream sort of balances itself against flooding. When we change the stream, we add sediment to it, that meander length is decreased. So there's more energy, more flooding. There's a lot of other things that happen. For example, if there is a fishery in this particular stream we're here today, a lot of people might eat the fish. If we're in a rural area, they might depend on this stream for water. Might be a public water source. There could be some recreation involved too. For example, just upstream from here, there's a hole of water that kids swim in. This particular hole of water has been, over the years, been gradually filled up because of sedimentation, and mainly it's the proximity of the dirt roads, which are real common in this area, to that stream.
When the source of sediment becomes too much, well, then you start getting a lot of deposition, mid-channel bars forming, which redirects the flow pattern of the stream and actually causes stream bank erosion, which further increases the amount of sediment to the stream. This increase in sediment carries downstream, builds onto existing or creates new bars that would increase the amount of erosion farther downstream. When the stream starts to change its pattern by increasing the meander width and that type of thing, you start getting into a lot more erosion, which is additional sediment load to the stream. This increase in sediment does oftentimes increase the rate of flooding because there's somewhat less storage potential. Also, with the increased erosion, you have to look at the value of the soil that's lost. With the topsoil, estimated at a conservative estimate of $14 a ton, on a lot of these stream bank erosion sites, it can quickly run into thousands of dollars. By maintaining the riparian area and trying to reduce the other sources of sediment, you can drastically reduce that stream bank erosion.
A dirt road that is not well planned causes many problems. To prevent these problems, let's take a look at 4 key factors to building a good dirt road. Proper planning for these factors will help keep West Virginia's waters clean and reduce costly repairs and maintenance in the future. The 4 key factors to keep in mind are slope, drainage, and protecting exposed soil areas, and protecting the discharge areas. The greater the slope, the greater the speed or velocity the water will travel down drainage ditches or ruts in the road. The greater the velocity, the greater the erosion that will occur. Probably the most important factor in a properly built and maintained dirt road is drainage. Controlling how water drains off a road reduces the volume of water leaving the road at any particular point. Properly installed best management practices, known as BMPs, such as broad-based dips, drainage ditches, culverts, and water bars, get water off the road before it gains volume. The third factor is to protect the disturbed areas as quickly as possible. Reducing the amount of area disturbed or the time it remains uncovered or without vegetation will reduce the amount of sediment from this area. The velocity of the water plus the volume of water will determine its erosion force. We know that BMPs that reduce the velocity, the volume, or both will reduce the amount of erosion that occurs. But at some point, the water has to leave the road. At that point, its force can be significant. So, protecting the point where culverts, broad-based dips, and water bars direct water is important. Even a road that has BMPs to control runoff can cause a problem if it is too close to a stream or has poorly designed stream crossings. To find out the recommended buffer zone and stream crossing specifications and other important information, contact the technical government agencies listed.
If you do these things properly, we can still have our nice streams and we can still have our access roads to the areas where we need them.
We all need roads to get where we're going, but with a little bit of care and the use of best management practices, we can reduce the sediment in our lakes, rivers, and streams. If we do, it will protect West Virginians' property and natural resources and provide more opportunities for all of us to enjoy the wild and wonderful outdoors.